So in the short time that Ruben Amorim has been manager of Manchester United, he has already thrown up some surprises. In his first game, he started with a midfield double pivot of Casemiro and Christian Eriksen. We've seen Bruno Fernandes played in a few different positions, and Tyrone Malacia starting a game against Arsenal when he hadn't started a game in the Premier League in such a long time. And it has led to people asking some questions. Does he actually know his strongest starting 11? And also, Gary Neville doesn't seem too happy with the fact that we are rotating the team on such a regular basis. So I thought today we would take a look at, does Amorim actually know his best 11? What is his best 11? And what do I think his best 11 actually is as well? Now, something I should say is I'm fine with the rotation still. He's a new manager at a new football club, trying to get used to new players in a very hectic spell. It's completely fine for him to keep rotating, don't listen to people complaining about that. But I still think it's an interesting topic to look at, so that is exactly what we are going to be doing today. If you guys quickly subscribe to the channel, we desperately need to hit 45,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I need you basically to press subscribe, and then once you've done that, we'll get into the video. So we're going to go through this sort of position by position and discuss a few points on the tactical board as well. Starting off in goal, the best goalkeeper is still Andre Onana. He did not have a very good game at the weekend against Nottingham Forest. He was incredibly poor, but I think he's been Manchester United's best player so far this season, and actually, in my opinion, the best goalkeeper in the Premier League so far this season. So I have no issues with Onana continuing in goal. At centre-back, I think we get the first sort of question marks. I think Ruben Amorim likes Lisandro Martinez on the left. Every time that he has been available, he has been straight into that starting 11. And I think the reason why he likes him so much is his ball progression ability. So I think he is still favoured on the left side for now. On the right side, I would suggest it's Mazraoui. He has started a lot of games on the right-hand side of defence, apart from one, I believe. He is playing that position on a regular basis. Again, he gives us a lot of technical quality on the ball. Ruben Amorim has been saying he's the sort of player we need. That sort of player is the future of the club. So I do think Mazraoui is his preferred option on the right. And then in the middle, it has been De Ligt for pretty much every game so far that he has been available for. So I do believe that is Ruben Amorim's preferred back three. Although we will come back to this a little bit later on when I talk about my back three. Now, if we move into midfield, unsurprisingly, Ugarte is the main man in midfield at the moment. He's played actually a little bit more regularly than what I thought he would, particularly in the last week when I thought he might get some rest. And I actually think his performance levels have been really good over the past few weeks. Do I think he's the perfect midfielder for what Manchester United need? To tell the truth, the answer to that question is still no, but I certainly think at the moment he is the most suited to what Ruben Amorim wants, and that isn't surprising because he knows his playstyle. So I think he's had a really good few weeks, I think he's doing well, and I think Amorim will continue to use him. The player that plays next to him is really, really interesting. It's a really interesting one to try and figure out. Now, in terms of minutes, we're looking at Bruno Fernandes. He has played a lot of football in the double pivot. But I don't think Ruben Amorim wants him there. In his very first game, he was talking about the fact that Bruno can be a little bit too direct, play forward a bit too regularly. And I don't think he wants that in deeper positions. So despite the fact that he hasn't played too much, partly because of injury, I do think Kobbie Mainoo is still, for now, the preferred choice in midfield. Although again, that might change in the future. Right now, I think he still likes Kobbie Mainoo playing in that double pivot. I think he likes his retention work. We are a side that still in moments plays kind of forward too quickly. When things are going wrong, we revert back to old habits. Kobbie doesn't do that so much, so I do think Kobbie is still in our strongest 11 in Ruben Amorim's eyes. I also think the wing backs are fairly predictable as well. At the moment, it is Diogo Dalot on the left. Have I personally been happy with his performances? No, but Ruben Amorim seems to be a fan of the guy. I think in the long term, he wants to move him to a different position. But right now, you know, it's not Tyrone Malacia, it's not Luke Shaw. No one else has really played that left wing-back role so far. So for now, it is Diogo Dalot, which means on the right-hand side, it is Ahmad. And again, I think most people would agree with this, although we are going to make some changes a little bit later on. Now, as we move towards the front three, things are a little bit more difficult, as they always are. I think teams naturally always change their forwards a little bit more, so it is more challenging to predict and really determine who the favourites are. I do still think, though, that Bruno Fernandes is in our strongest starting 11, and I think Ruben Amorim sees it the same way. He is playing a lot of minutes, even when he looks tired. Granted, he did get one game rest, but still, Bruno Fernandes is one of our main men. Ruben Amorim will see him in his plans. He is one of those inside forwards. In terms of the striker position, it's Rasmus Højlund. Xerxes has come in once or twice, but Højlund, again, clearly, very clearly the main man, and he is scoring goals at the moment, which is brilliant for his confidence. I think the big question mark is over that other inside forward position. Is it Mason Mount? difficult to say because he hasn't had a true chance due to fitness problems still, but it could be Mason Mount. But I think realistically it's between Garnacho and Marcus Rashford. And genuinely, and again this isn't about who I prefer, it's about who Ruben Amorim prefers. I genuinely don't know who his preference is at the moment. I don't know if he prefers Marcus Rashford or Garnacho. I think I'm going to lean towards Garnacho. I would guess he's played more minutes, although I haven't actually checked that stat. I think Ruben Amorim probably prefers Garnacho still, so for me, there are some changes that we need to make to this 11, even though it is strong. Now, the reason I want to make some changes to what is currently viewed as the strongest starting 11 is because we are facing certain tactical problems. I should make it very clear, I don't think I know more than Ruben Amorim. I'm very aware I am nowhere near as knowledgeable as what he is. However, I can give my opinion on a few different changes that I would be tempted to make to this starting 11. One of those changes is at centre-back, and I don't know, this is going to divide opinion quite a lot because De Ligt has been playing reasonably well, but I just think Harry Maguire may be more suited to the role, and there's two main reasons, so just hear me out on this before you jump on my back. First of all, Maguire physically is a better player. He is better in the air than what De Ligt is. He is more dominant in his duels, both on the ground, and in the air. Ruben Amorim said something very similar at the weekend. This isn't a controversial opinion. Amorim literally said it at the weekend. Maguire is stronger in his duels, and I think we need that because the rest of the pitch we are a little bit weak. The other reason I like Maguire though is because of his ability to circulate the ball. I think he kind of understands the rhythm a little bit better, but I just think his long passing is better. De Ligt has had moments where he's on the ball and he's just taking a bit too long when there really is a pass for him which is quite obvious. There is an obvious switch out wide, for example, or a pass through the lines. De Ligt is very hesitant when it comes to playing those passes. Now, Maguire isn't perfect either. Sometimes he does dwindle on the ball a little bit too long. But I do think he is the better progressor. And the fact that physically he's better, I would be really tempted to bring him into the side. I would also be tempted to move Mazraoui. Now, that might sound a little bit odd because Mazraoui has been unbelievable so far under Ruben Amorim. Don't worry, we're not dropping him. I just want to move his position. And for now, I want to bring Leny Yoro into the side. Only started one game so far. Of course, this isn't going to be something which happens too quickly. But in the long term, I think he adds something to this team. In terms of physically, he's a lot taller and stronger than what Mazraoui is. And I think when you play a 3 centre-back system, having a full-back in Mazraoui and a short centre-back with Lisandro Martinez feels a little bit weak. Whereas if you get Yoro and Maguire, two good physical athletes, and then Lisandro Martinez, I think it just balances itself out a little bit nicer. And also what it allows us to do is get a brilliant channel defender here. Yoro's his pace, his athleticism, again, is something that Amorim has spoken about. I like him in the long term, either in this position, or perhaps even further in the future. He could go into the middle, but that's a conversation for another day. But remember I said that, because we will come back to it one day. Anyway, we still need Mazraoui in the team. We still need him in the team. He may not play in the back three, but we need him somewhere. And I would suggest moving him to the left wing back position could be a smart move. Nothing against Dalot, it's just recently his form hasn't been good enough. And when he gets into the final third, I just don't think he's got the quality that we need. United do a lot of work where we build the ball down the left-hand side. And I think Mazraoui is one of our best technicians. Can you imagine the technical skill level of Lisandro Martinez, Mazraoui, Kobbie Mainoo all playing near each other? I feel like the level would be really good. Mazraoui would also provide Lisandro Martinez with some defensive support, just like Dalot does, but I just think it's when he gets going forward. I'm hoping almost that he just might have a better output level, a better technical level to help United. So the changes we've made so far, I think it improves our athleticism at the back, our ball progression, but also hopefully some attacking play out wide. And then the other change I want to make is in the front three. I think Højlund is doing fine. I think Bruno Fernandes is doing all right. Garnacho, unfortunately, is in a vein of poor form at the moment. And I think some of the reason for that is simply because this position doesn't really suit him. Who could we bring in, is the question. Who can we bring in? One option is Marcus Rashford. Now, when we have seen Rashford in the side, it has actually been on the right, and Bruno is shifted to the left, which I quite like. It gets Bruno into his best position. But do I think Rashford in this right inside forward position is the right player for us right now? I'm not sure I do. I'm not sure I truly believe that. I would be really tempted to bring Mason Mount into the side and try and get Bruno and Mount as the two inside forwards. Now, I am aware we lack a little bit of kind of athleticism in the front line and running power, although Højlund will bring it to an extent. Do we lack pace and power and dribbling ability? Maybe. But I think defensively, because we're not the strongest team in the world, we have to make up for that with work rate and intensity and things like that. And I think Mason Mount, Bruno, Højlund, Ugarte, they sort of bring that. And I think Ahmad and Mason Mount could have some really nice link-up play. So I think, in my opinion right now, this might be our strongest 11. I think. Now again, like I said right at the start of the video, I don't think Ruben Amorim should pick an 11 just yet and just go for it. He doesn't understand the players well enough yet, which is completely normal for a new manager. Also, we are in an incredibly hectic period. These players cannot play 90 minutes every 3 days. It's not possible. So they do need breaks. The rotation will continue, and that is the right thing to do. But I do think it's interesting to kind of look at what the strongest 11 would actually be. If we had a huge game this weekend and the players were fully rested, who would a Ruben Amorim starting 11 be? Let me know what you think in the comments down below, because I do think it's a really interesting conversation to have. Am I completely happy with this team? Not entirely. It lacks something in the final third, in my opinion. But this is what we've got at the moment, and I think it might be our best, but I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Apart from that, though, we're finished for today. So thank you guys very much for watching the video. I hope you have enjoyed it, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.